President Trump has signed an executive order to create the same thing here they use there.
To immediately begin the construction of a state-of-the-art Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be able to protect Americans.
The president also signed other executive orders for the military, including eliminating DEI programs and ordering a review of transgender troops, which could lead to an eventual ban. The president made his comments at a gathering with House Republicans at his resort in Doral, Florida, where he also reacted to a Chinese AI startup, DeepSeek, using cheaper technology, which led to a big tech sell-off on Wall Street. And he calls it a wake-up call.
We need to be laser-focused on competing to win because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that.
Well, the Nasdaq plunged 3% yesterday, but this morning Nasdaq futures are up slightly. Federal agents keep conducting immigration raids across the country. Trump orders are Tom Homan tells Fox.
Anybody in the country illegally, they're on the table, but we're going to go after them in a prioritization that makes sense. The worst first.
That means immigrants considered criminal or public safety threats first. Yesterday alone, ICE agents made almost 1,200 arrests nationwide, ordered another 800-plus immigrants be detained. But as Democrats push back, vowing to resist these raids, House Republicans take action.
The House Oversight Committee sent 4 letters to the mayors of Chicago, New York City, Denver, and Boston. The committee states while there are hundreds of cities and counties with sanctuary laws or policies across the U.S., these 4 cities stand out because of their, quote, abject failure to comply with federal law.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. A grocery store is a crime scene in Elkhart, Indiana. A gunman opened fire inside a Martin's supermarket.
Police rushing to the scene say they found 2 victims dead inside the store. That's when the shooter opened fire and was killed in the exchange of gunfire. 2 officers who were hit are expected to recover. No immediate word on what prompted the shooting.
That's Gary Baumgarten. America's listening to Fox News.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250, say the keyword, save now, save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
President Trump's cabinet slowly being built. The Senate plans a confirmation vote today for Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary nominee. Last night, they approved the next Treasury Secretary.
The yeas are 68. The nays are 29.
That tally for billionaire investor Scott Bessent saw 16 Democrats vote yes. During limited debate, allegations of unpaid taxes came up. GOP Senator Mike Crapo of Idaho said there is no tax issue.
He provided extensive supporting material for all of the attacks on him.
But Oregon Democratic Senator Ron Wyden said Bessent has avoided $1 million in taxes, which means to Wyden,
the Treasury Secretary will be in violation of Treasury policy.
Bessent will try to extend Trump tax cuts, which are set to expire in December. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
The Justice Department has fired more than a dozen people who worked on Special Counsel Jack Smith's team in the investigations that led to 2 Trump federal indictments later dropped when the president won the election. Now, the Justice Department is also being scrutinized by the acting U.S. attorney in Washington, reviewing the decisions to charge hundreds of people with felonies over actions taken during the 2021 Capitol riot. President Trump pardoned or commuted the sentences of about 1,500 January 6 convicts, and one of them is now dead.
42-year-old Matthew Huddle was one of many who entered in the U.S. Capitol in Washington on January 6, 2021. He actually recorded his 16 minutes inside, which ultimately led to 6 months in jail after a guilty plea in 2023. After being pardoned for that misdemeanor by President Trump, Huddle was recently stopped by a Jasper County, Indiana sheriff's deputy. After refusing to be arrested, an altercation happened, and Huddle was shot and killed by the deputy. John Saucier, Fox News.
Now back to Wall Street. We mentioned NASDAQ futures are rising modestly. The Dow, well, up a little too. It was not dragged down by yesterday's tech sell-off. It surged up almost 300 points. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. Illinois Attorney General warning the public about scams related to California wildfire relief efforts. He says if you're planning to make a donation, make sure the charity is providing direct aid or raising money for other groups. Donors may want to avoid the middlemen and give directly to charities that have a presence in the region. He advises donors to ask questions to determine the donation's ultimate recipients. Ginger Ale in Savoy is closing permanently. The business announced on Sunday. Ginger Ale's opened a location in Savoy of summer of 2023. They serve food from a limited menu, including pretzels, sandwiches, and nachos, but were known for their specialty sodas. Illinois' unemployment rate slightly down. The Illinois Department of Employment Security says the state's jobless rate fell 0.1% to 5.2% last month. Non-farm payroll jobs increased by 8,800 in December. And that's a check of what's happening. You're up to date from the Stevie J Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
You know that it's January 28, and I said you get through December, January, boom, you're there. It's a 28-day month. It's lighter. It's March after that. We spring in. Unless Donald Trump does an executive order or however that works, we're going to spring ahead in March, but I think he kind of wants to do it away with daylight saving. I'd be all on board with that.
Me too.
Yeah. Older people
earlier
struggle.
the better with the sun year round.
Yeah,
my position on it.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yes.
We had some meteorologist Greg Soya, my coffee boys this morning didn't know anything about maybe stuff happening next week, and I'm looking at all the national charts, which are very vague, and they don't know much. I listen to Greg Solye, and you're telling me there could be winter next week around here as well.
Yeah, later next week and beyond from there. I think what's going to be a pretty action-packed month of February around here. So enjoy it while you may, get it done while you may, and all that kind of stuff appropriate with late January, because anything but a late January feel here for the next couple of days, my friend.
I'm not so sure we haven't had more challenging Februarys in our history around here. I mean, you get through December, January, but February can be challenging. It's short, but it's
gut feeling about that. I concur with that. Yes.
Oh boy. Our weather this morning brought to you with Mr. Meteorologist Greg Solye by Urbana Park District,
and they've got their health and wellness center open now, plus the Best in Show photo competition. As you get your entries in January, they could be on display at Lincoln Square Mall in February. Details at urbanaparks.org.
All right, sir, what you seeing on the maps there, friend?
Well, maps and charts got two separate streams and ribbons of upper air movement. One through the far northern U.S., through the Great Lakes region, the northeast of New England. You go north of there, and it is bitter and biting through the Canadian Prairie, especially the southeastern portions of the Canadian Prairie, north of the Great Lakes region. Then you hold up around here, and the winds down the slopes of the Rockies. They warm nicely. The snow is virtually nil in areas to the north and west of us. Matter of fact, Lincoln, Nebraska, 1 inch of snow so far this wintertime season. Wow. Then you go to Pensacola, what they have, 8.5, 9, 10 inches down there 2 weeks ago. So there's kind of a range of weather for you. And there's more wet weather down there, of which we'll take aim around here later this week. And then late next week, we're probably about 10 days out from kind of chasing the old rain snow line around, and Arctic air building to the north and west, warmth to the east and south. And that usually means a pretty busy weather pattern going forward for the month of February. But in the meantime, out the door this morning, not bad. 26 Willard and Savoy and Rantoul, up to 46 today, with a west-southwesterly wind on the increase at 15 to 25 miles per hour, and gusty probably close to 40 mile per hour gust up towards the Kankakee. Will bottom out tonight at 32 and a stiff west-northwest wind. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, mild again at 45, 20s tomorrow night, and some rain gets going here for Thursday afternoon into Friday. Keep an eye on the streams and rivers. A lot of frost on the ground, ice jamming effects. So we'll pick up a half to 3/4 worth of rain across the year between Thursday and Friday. 48 on Thursday, about 47 on Friday. Temps may slide later in the day. A little snow mixed in late in the day on Friday. No accumulation. Then quiet for the weekend at 38 on Saturday. Back up to 50 on Sunday. And we'll level off to more seasonal readings in the 30s the beginning part of next week. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solye.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on what he said next week. Because if you got some winter coming, again, you look long range on, national stuff, and just nothing there.
Right.
So we'll keep our eyes on what our meteorologist says, Greg Solye. All right, it is Tuesday morning. This is January 28th. 3 more days. It's a long month. And, yeah. So February, he says, brace for impact.
That's right.
That was when we had the famous ice storm of 1990. And Okay, we're ready. All right, so Ephraim Winters died. Is anybody old enough to remember Ephraim Winters?
He was 61, 6'9", battling an illness for a while.
Okay, that's all it says?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody remember the Minnesota-Illinois game at the Assembly Hall, probably, 83? Does anybody remember the windmill dunk?
Oh, wow. That was him?
That was Ephraim Winters.
Nice.
That was Ephraim Winters, who played with Doug Altenberger. Back in the day, Doug and I were close to the same age. He came to our first home one time to do laundry. Great, funny guy. I had him on my show a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't really been in touch the last 40 years. But Doug looks good, and he's done very well.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, he had some nice comments about Ephraim Winters. But Ephraim he just had a vertical. I mean, Ephraim Winters, it was kind of Lou Henson came in. We had a mess of a program. Wasn't very good. And then he started building. And then in 1979, that was when we got off to our amazing start and beat Michigan State, Magic Johnson and Greg Kelso.
Mm-hmm.
And went 15-0. Steve Lanter, our point guard, got hurt, and then it kind of went downhill from there. But it was exciting times of transition. Went to the NIT. It was so shocking. Illinois is going to be in the postseason, the NIT. And then it was Ephraim Winters' team that played in the snow game at the Assembly Hall in 84 when we had to pull, 3 local guys and put striped shirts on them because the referees couldn't get to the game.
Oh, wow.
And Kentucky was in town. It was Kentucky and Illinois. Kentucky was ranked number 1. And there were 3 local officials, 1 from Monticello, 2 from Champaign-Urbana, that came out in their jeans, and they gave them a striped shirt and a whistle.
Okay.
And it might have been the best officiated game we've ever had here.
Huh.
It was, and I think Kentucky beat us 54-52. It was a really close game.
Well, as a 4-year starter for Lou Henson, 120 games in his Illini career between 83 and 86, a number not surpassed until 2002.
Yeah. Well, if anybody remembers, you can text us on the Fisher National Bank text line. You might not be old enough. 217-359-2255. I was working at the scores table, and I remember it was an inbounds play under the basket, and somebody threw it to Ephraim, and he caught the ball down at his waist, and then he just completely circled up with one hand and dunked it.
Man.
And I remember the sound of the net. It went, and then the place exploded. It exploded. But there was a 0.2 of a second gap.
Right.
And then it was just nuts.
That would be awesome.
It was called the windmill dunk. It just went like 42 years ago. But again, you were not born or barely alive and young and don't remember that. But for the older people, the windmill dunk was Ephraim Winters. And I remember being at some gathering. I was just getting to know Lou and Mary Henson. And I asked what his vertical was. And I don't know if it was 40 or it was just 6'9", and he could it was that springs on his feet. He was so athletic.
Well, that's what made him such a great rebounder, and 853 rebounds, an Illini career all-time leading rebounder, and number 3 scorer, 1,487 points.
Yeah, he was special, and he was so fun. But he was also on the team that went to Kentucky. Probably the last time they ever allowed the NCAA tournament to play home games. But we went down to Kentucky and played them toe-to-toe in Rupp Arena with screaming Wildcat fans. And Dickie Beals was their point guard, and he traveled. And they didn't call it, and we lose. And everybody who was involved in that ball game remembered Dickie Beals. He traveled, and they didn't call it.
Of course, it was one of those situations against the Illini.
That was a game to take us to the Final Four. And Dickie Beals traveled, and they didn't call it.
I see.
And so that was, I think, the NCAA changed the rule after that and said, okay, I guess it's not fair if you play in your home court.
Well, I also saw that he retired and was with Pepper Construction Company, living in Aurora, passing away at the age of 61.
Yeah.
I guess he was the 4th round pick by the Atlanta Hawks in the '86 NBA draft.
Well, they don't do that anymore. I mean, it's 2 rounds and done. 4th round wouldn't have been very prominent, right? I mean, so they must not have thought his NBA, abilities were there. So, yeah, I lost touch. I'd never seen him come back. I've never anything about Ephraim Winters, but he was special, and he dies at the age of 61.
And if you want to contribute to the chat about that, it's 217-359-2255.
But you might be too young. Okay, let's check your sports headlines. How about the Fighting Illini women?
74-38 winners over Purdue, with the women's Boilermaker team at 0-9 in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Shauna Green after the game.
Just really proud of our effort from the start, and I think now that's 2 back-to-back just really dominant defensive performances, and that's, again, when we're defending like that, it just, I've said it, I think we can play with anyone, in the country when we are defending and rebounding, and then we can get out, and I thought we did a great job against the zone, which we've struggled against their zone the last 2 years. Just much improved really this whole year against zone. We've had a lot of practice against it, and just overall great team win.
Yeah, good job. Shauna Green, she's
That's
a
right.
big star.
And Kendall Bostic breaking a record held by Jenna Smith on rebounding. 1,217 was Jenna Smith's record in that 06-10 season, and 1,218 now for Kendall Bostic, and her 13th double-double this season, and that makes it a bunch of points and stuff like that too. In fact, she's moves into the all-time career scoring with 1,282 in the Big Ten. So go Illini. Next up for the Illini women will be at Rutgers. They've got a couple of games on the East Coast. Thursday at 6 is when they'll tip off. Of course, for Illini, it's Nebraska, and that game is on Thursday.
7:30.
7:30, and then we'll be home for the Ohio State game Sunday, February 2nd at noon.
That's national TV.
Okay.
CBS national TV. The last CBS game was Michigan State, where Kaspers couldn't play.
Right.
Because he got 4 fouls called on him that weren't fouls, and 1 maybe. Anyway, hopefully he'll get to play a whole game in front of the nation.
Lots of good energy in Sunday's game against Northwestern. If you'd like to experience that, try to win tickets as you texted Illini to 217-359-2255. Express Employment Professionals, your link to top talent and recruitment opportunities at expresspros.com, giving you that opportunity to win. Yesterday in the Big Ten, Michigan over Penn State 76-72. Ohio State over Iowa 82-65. UCLA over USC 82-76. Arizona upset number 3 Iowa State 86-75.
Okay, team leaves tomorrow. They always go a day ahead now because of weather and all of that. So the Fighting Illini will leave for Lincoln, Nebraska on Big Silver Bird tomorrow, probably afternoon. Check your weather. Meteorologist Greg Solier brought to you this morning by Carl.
When it comes to your health, they'll be there to help you through it all, from convenient care to advanced diagnostics. Count on Carl. Learn more at carl.org.
We're going to check your Fox Business Minute coming up here. It's our friend Terry Schilling, who's from Illinois and pro-family, big time in Washington. We'll talk to him coming up in 10 minutes.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois. Champaign and Van Avis Saturday. Still a series of fast-moving weather systems riding up to the north. Wet weather breaking out down south. The two will get together with a rain system to in later on this week, and a change back to colder weather ahead for next week. But in the meantime, these mild days of late January continue on. Windy and milder this afternoon. Mostly sunny up to 46 at a west-southwesterly wind, 15 to 25 miles per hour, and gusty. Mostly clear, breezy tonight, down to 32. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, mild again, up to 45 at a northwest wind. We'll settle back into the 20s tomorrow night, increasing cloudiness for the day on Thursday. Some rain breaks out for the afternoon, the high about 48. And a rainy Friday, the high around 47 and dropping. Last of that rain may have a little snow in it late in the day on Friday. Then Saturday, partly cloudy, 38. Back up to a wind-blown high of 50 on Sunday. Highs in the 30s Monday and Tuesday of next week, with a rain-snow system due in mid-next week as well. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
Take charge of the years ahead with a smart, sound investment strategy and business succession plan. Busey Bank's business and wealth management experts help you envision your best future with powerful insights and proven strategies. Building business and growing wealth since 1868, Busey Bank, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
General Motors shares are up 1%. Its quarter top forecasts helped by strong sales in the U.S. GM actually reported a loss for the quarter, including its restructuring of business in China. Royal Caribbean's earnings are upbeat and says demand is picking up. The last 5 weeks were the best for bookings in the company's history. Kimberly-Clark, which makes Kleenex and Huggies, also is reporting a better quarter than Wall Street was predicting. CVS launched a new app today aimed at making pharmacy lines shorter, delivering more transparency on drug costs and cutting the stress out of a pharmacy visit. Whole Foods workers at the Spring Garden Street location in Philadelphia have voted to join a union, the United Food and Commercial Workers International. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola. Invested in you.
From the Fox News Podcasts Network, the Fox News Rundown, a contrast of perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. Your daily dose of news twice a day, going far beyond the headlines, tapping into the massive reporting resources of Fox News to provide a full picture of the news of the day.
I'm Dana Perino.
I'm Brett Baer.
I'm Maria Bartiromo.
I'm Brian Kilmeade, and this is the Fox News Rundown.
Subscribe and listen now by going to foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Stevie J here. With Nate Evans of eXp Realty, you'll always get a stress-free sale for the most money.
Sell your home with Nate. Pick the price, pick the day. Go to theNateEvansGroup.com.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Well, we mentioned Ephraim Winters, former Illini basketball superstar, passing away. Got the news yesterday. Ephraim Winters was a big basketball star here in the early 1980s. January 28th, that's today. That was also the anniversary of the Space Shuttle Challenger. And it's one of those, I think you remember where you were.
Right.
And I was in our newsroom over at DWS and Robin Neal at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was when we didn't have any cubbies. It was everybody's in one room with a desk.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we had. And she went to I guess it was the Associated Press wire.
Yep.
Back in the day when we did that.
Yes,
we don't have any
remember
of
that too.
And so she ripped it and said, the Challenger exploded. I said, what?
Right.
See, I had written a letter to Krista McAuliffe, and I had it in my drawer, my top right-hand drawer, and said, what an amazing adventure. I'd love to interview on my radio show, because I was sending letters to all these celebrities. And
she was the school teacher that was on board, and all 7 crew members, of course, passed away in that explosion that happened 72 seconds after liftoff on this day in 86.
And I ran back to the TV. There was a TV somewhere back in the back. We didn't have one where it was prominent. And I watched Dan Rather explaining, but what was kind of strange is it was up there, everybody's watching the families.
Right. I mean, because so many schools were backing the teacher, a lot of them
the schools had TVs everywhere, right? She was a school teacher. It had gotten so amazing that you could put a school teacher in space.
Yes.
And it was an unbelievable story, and yet when it exploded, the announcers didn't react. They looked at it and they said, okay, control, it's 452, 15, 15, 15. But they didn't say, oh my gosh, nothing. There was they just kept going. And then I think somebody might have said malfunction, something, eventually, but there was seconds passing when nobody said anything about the flumes of smoke.
Right.
Unbelievable. And we all watched it that night.
Well, you might just be in disbelief then.
But something was wrong, but I don't think they wanted to say anything, but it was a bunch of fire and smoke. So you knew it went really bad, but then the people that were just doing the countdown, they're not going to commentate.
Right.
But even the news people, I think they said, what's that?
Right.
Ronald Reagan was our 40th president and just made such a riveting, historic speech that night in the Oval Office.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd planned to speak to you tonight to report on the State of the Union. But the events of earlier today have led me to change those plans. Today is a day for mourning and remembering. Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of the Shuttle Challenger. We know we share this pain with all of the people of our country. This is truly a national loss. 19 years ago, almost to the day, we lost 3 astronauts in a terrible accident on the ground. But we've never lost an astronaut in flight. We've never had a tragedy like this. And perhaps we've forgotten the courage it took for the crew of the shuttle. But they, the Challenger 7, were aware of the dangers, but overcame them and did their jobs brilliantly. We mourn 7 heroes: Michael Smith, Dick Scobie, Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Gregory Jarvis, and Krista Mikaloff. We mourn their loss as a nation together. The families of the 7, we cannot bear, as you do, the full impact of this tragedy. But we feel the loss, and we're thinking about you so very much. Your loved ones were daring and brave, and they had that special grace, that special spirit that says, give me a challenge, and I'll meet it with joy.
So good. I mean, he just, Ronald Reagan, and then he said some incredible words, I think, toward the end here.
There would be more shuttle flights and more shuttle crews, and yes, more volunteers, more civilians, more teachers in space. Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue. I want to add that I wish I could talk to every man and woman who works for NASA or who worked on this mission and tell them your dedication and professionalism have moved and impressed us for decades, and we know of your anguish. We share it. There's a coincidence today. On this day, 390 years ago, the great explorer Sir Francis Drake died aboard ship off the coast of Panama. In his lifetime, the great frontiers were the oceans, and a historian later said he lived by the sea, died on it, and was buried in it. Well, today, we can say of the Challenger crew, their dedication was, like Drake's, complete. The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us for the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of Earth.
Slipped the surly bonds of Earth. Ronald Reagan, the great communicator. 1986 today. So that would be, what, 39 years? Yeah. 39 years? Yeah. Anyway, okay. We're going to break for the news and come back. Terry Schilling, our friend out of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Who's a pro-family dude and has done a lot to promote families. He and his wife are contributing. They have 7 kids. And John Schweppe, who joins us, they're having their 5th. So I guess if you work for a pro-family group, you want to have family.
And he does.
Just wondering how do you have time to work? 7 children.
Right.
Okay, that'll be next. Glad you're listening. You're always welcome to comment. 217-359-2255 on the Fisher National Bank text line. You can jump on with any comments that come to you. All right, the news will be next, 7:28. It's ESPN 93.5. The news and Greg's weather coming up next. You've changed thousands of diapers, played hours of peekaboo and duck duck goose because you'd do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow in Champaign-Urbana today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
What is most important in your life? This is Rob Meyer with Provident Financial Group. Whether you're launching a career, raising a family, planning for retirement, or creating a legacy, we can help. At Provident, we provide strategic thinking and perspective that can help clients like you realize your goals. Contact us today at 217-366-3456 or find us online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
ILLINI. Cheer on the Illini and Pia's. The pregame fun starts at Pia's Sports Bar and Grill. Pia's serves up its famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger along with great wings and so much more. Enjoy 350 22-ounce light and course light drafts every home and away Illini game. Watch the game at Pia's or ride the free shuttle to all home games. You'll find it all at Pia's with live video gaming, sports, food, drinks, and fun. See you at Pia's, West Springfield Avenue in Champaign.
Attention drivers. When it comes to your car, trust matters. That's why savvy drivers choose PDR Automotive for top-notch service and unbeatable quality. From routine maintenance to complex repairs, their team of expert technicians has the skill and experience to keep your vehicle running smoothly. At PDR Automotive, customer satisfaction is their priority, and they won't rest until your car is back on the road performing at its best. Visit PDR Automotive in Urbana today, family-owned and operated for more than 50 years. They're what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. A record low number of border crossings over the weekend. Border Patrol agents telling Fox, well, House Republicans want to talk to some city leaders.
The House Oversight Committee sent 4 letters to the mayors of Chicago, New York City, Denver, and Boston. The committee states while there are hundreds of cities and counties with sanctuary laws or policies across the U.S., these 4 cities stand out because of their, quote, abject failure to comply with federal law.
Fox's Madeline Rivera reporting a hearing to investigate the 4 cities set for February 11th. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem posting video on X this morning showing an enforcement operation in New York City riding a criminal alien with kidnapping, assault, and burglary charges now in custody. Tech stocks looking to rebound this morning, hammered by that new, cheaper AI model from China called DeepSeek. America's listening to Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. Fire crews responded to a fire in an Urbana apartment complex Monday morning at South Cottage Grove Avenue and East Harding Drive. The building, large multi-family residence. Rescues were a top priority. They added there was smoke throughout the building. The fire began and a chute on floor 1, which allowed the smoke to spread to other floors. Good news, nobody was hurt. Illinois' unemployment rate down slightly. The Department of Employment Security says the state's jobless rate fell 0.1% to 5.2% last month. Non-farm payroll jobs increased by 8,800 in December. An 18-year-old cited after hitting a power pole in Hoopston Saturday night at the intersection of East Honeywell Avenue and North 6. Police say that while driving, the teen lost control, hitting the power pole. After investigating, the driver is cited for reckless driving and driving too fast for conditions. The driver appearing in court in Vermilion County at a later date. That's what's happening on your Tuesday. You're up to date from the Stevie J Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
All right, thank you, Jim. We check your weather with our meteorologist, learned one, Greg Solier, who got a weather machine when he was 12 years old for Christmas. Weather brought to you by Busey for over 155 years. Member FDIC.
Well, again, everyone, let's check weather for Eastern Illinois. Champaign and vicinity. Delightful weather for late January, early February. Continues on from a temperature standpoint. Cooler weather is ahead for next week and a continuation of a pretty active storm track as well. Getting a little closer to that rain-snow line later next week as well. In the meantime, fine weather for the day-to-day, but still wind-blown. Mostly sunny up to 46. The west-southwest wind for the afternoon at 15 to 25 and gusty. Mostly clear, breezy tonight down to 32. Tomorrow, breezy, mild sunshine at 45. Into the 20s for tomorrow night, and some rain breaks out Thursday afternoon. Increasing clouds, highs up to 48. A rainy Friday, the high about 47, but dropping in the afternoon. Last of the rain may have a little wet snow mixed in late in the day on Friday. No accumulation. 38, a partly cloudy and cooler Saturday, but back up to 50 on Sunday. Highs in the 30s Monday and Tuesday next week with a rain snow system mid to late next week as well. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
Well, you remember when Joe Biden hired 87,000 new IRS agents, making sure that you're doing what you should be doing, paying the government money?
Okay.
Donald Trump has floated the idea to take those 87,000 agents and give them guns and go to the border.
Oh, wow.
Martha, we have a change of venue for our new IRS job.
Right.
Apparently, IRS can use guns, so maybe they're trained up. So that'd be a nice little influx on the border. Terry Schilling, who is president of the American Principles Project, a GOP strategist originally from Illinois. 7 children. His buddy John Schweppe about to have his 5th. So you guys are contributing to the family, family pro-family thing. And that's, congratulations. We're just wondering how you work.
Oh man, Stevie, I don't. My wife does it all. No, it's a lot of fun. But my kids, I'm blessed to have a job. Oh, sorry, I got that. Cold. No, my kids are my joy. I'm really blessed. I get to work in a job that's all about protecting my kids and saving the future of our country.
Yeah.
And we're on the front lines there, so it's all good.
What's their ages of those children? Quick, how do you know? Do you know them, all their names? And Birthdays?
I know their birthdays, too. No, so my oldest is Grace. She's 19. She's actually at Illinois State University, so she's kind of close to you guys.
Awesome.
And then it's Reagan, who's 13, Bobby, who's 10, Max is 8, Peter is 6 today.
Wow.
And we cooked him some pancakes this morning. Then we have Abigail. She's my biggest troublemaker. She's 2, and she's got red hair and blue eyes. And then Tucker is just the new guy. He's just figuring things out. We're still figuring out who he is.
You know how good you'll be for the next 7 kids you guys have? I mean, it's going to be amazing. It's just going to be so unbelievable. No, we want guys like you, families like you. You're obviously married far over your head, Terry, I can tell. If your wife is, that's so good. And if Grace ever needs anything, I'm 45 minutes away.
There
so
you
we
go.
Can,
and Stevie has a daughter named Grace.
Yeah, we love her, and we're big fans of the Schilling family. Okay, so give me your take. It's been a whole 8 days since Donald Trump was inaugurated. How's it going?
He's been doing fantastic, right? This administration, this term is so much different than the first term. And it's even, I think, better than a lot of other presidents' second terms. If you think about what President Trump was given, and the circumstances were hellacious. I mean, he almost had his life ruined. He almost got killed. He almost bankrupted. But he had 4 years to look back at his first term. What went right? What went wrong? What can I do better? And not a lot of two-term presidents get that opportunity. And I think that's why his administration is going so well just 8 days in, is because he had all that time. And also the motivation to get back at these guys that were so unfair and cruel and dishonest and deceitful towards him and the American people. It's going very, very well, Steve.
It's amazing. I mean, has there ever been, and again, in my lifetime, I would say no and maybe ever, where a person goes out and says, here's what I'm going to do if you just put me in office. And then when they get elected, he goes back to every point and reminds you what he promised. Who does that?
Donald Trump, and this is why there was no stopping him. Right, this is why his approval rating right now is at 56%.
Yeah,
right in the polls. I mean, people are so used to politicians just lying to us and gaslighting us and misleading us and deceiving us that you get a guy in office that does everything he promised and they don't know what to do with it. And I think that was the first term. So it's all great. I love that he's sending these garbage IRS agents who have been tormenting middle-class and working-class American families for way too long. I'm so glad he's putting them to actual use. Get down to the border, secure it, and make our lives better. Don't make them more hellacious.
You know, extraordinary time we're in, but I just happen to, maybe I shouldn't be this way. I love when somebody says we're naming an airport after him. I love when they say he ought to be on Mount Rushmore, because the left just goes nuts. They just go nuts. They just can't take it. It's just something. Hey, you know what, though? If you look at Donald Trump and you look at J.D. Vance, is God sending a message to say, you know what? Life won't be easy. You're going to have some times when you've been dealt a hand that it wasn't fair, right? Why would that? And then I'm going to kick in a VP that's had a heroin-addicted mother and a lot of abuse growing up, and we'll make him vice president. Is that not shine a light of hope to everybody that breathes in America to say, well, I got knocked down and I didn't plan on my second term? I mean, Trump was ready for this, but he was so unbelievably inhibited by all the stuff that came his way. And yet when the opportunity came back, he was really ready. How many would prepare going through the unbelievable things he went through?
No, that's exactly right, Stevie. And the thing is, at the heart of Christianity is redemption, right? And you can really tell a true Christian who gets it by whether or not they're willing to give someone a second chance, or whether or not they're willing to give themselves a second chance at redemption. That is the story of Christianity. It's about giving us all a second chance, being born again. And that's what's so odd to the world, is they make up their minds. They make these judgments about people unfairly or fairly, and then that's how they are. But Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they're proving that just because you get beat, or just because you get, taken advantage of or hurt and damaged, it doesn't mean it's over. Politics is the art of coming back from the dead. It really is. And Donald Trump proves it, and so does J.D. Vance.
All right, last question. If the number in America is 85% for, how can a mayor in a major city be against taking a convicted felon out of their population? I don't get it.
No, it's because it's because they're enemies of the country, right? They've either sold us out and they've got a ton of money on the line that they'll end up losing out. They've got blackmail material on themselves. This stuff doesn't make sense. There is no first of all, we really shouldn't have any sex offenders or violent criminals in this country. We put those people in jail. So to be against returning those people to their own country is absolutely insane. It makes no sense, and the only thing that can explain it is you're either compromised by blackmail or finances, or you just hate America, or you're just dumb, right? There's a few possibilities, and it could be a combination of all those things.
It's amazing. In Chicago, with our Governor J.B. Pritzker, some Secret Service agents went to an elementary school because they saw some threats about TikTok and things, and they went to the computer. They found it at a school. This is Secret Service now. The head of Chicago schools went out and made a public statement how ICE tried to get into our schools and we're not letting them in. What the heck? That's not true. That's what it's just crazy.
They might be hiding something, Stevie. They might be hiding something different, and they're trying to distract people and just get, public outrage going.
Yeah.
That's very suspicious. They knew it was Secret Service. They knew it wasn't ICE. And these are not good people in Illinois. I'll tell you what, these elected officials.
They left their cards, said Secret Service.
I see.
Anyway, it's a head shaker in Illinois, and yet you allowed your daughter to come back. Well, good for you, giving Illinois another shot.
Right.
And frankly,
Go Redbirds.
There's 103 counties. I think 97 of them are pink or red. Okay,
yeah, that's right.
McLean County, I think, is red. Champaign County is deep dark blue. Okay, so here I am. I'm out here.
That's right.
We're
an island here in our Philo studios.
Definitely an island, and for those of you that listen, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate you. Okay, Terry, how can people find you?
You can find me online on all the social media platforms. It's just Schilling, SCHILLING, 1776, or go to AmericanPrinciplesProject.org.
Hey, keep up your good work, my friend.
Thanks, Stevie.
You're the man, Terry Schilling from Washington, or probably Virginia. And by the way, Deep Dark Blue in who won all the offices, but we're half and half. Realistically, if you take all the Republicans on the rolls and the Democrats on the rolls, it's probably 50-50. And for some reason, the Republicans, or the people that say they're Republican, don't vote. But they said if everybody voted, it's pretty close. Still, Chapin Rose is going to spend our next hour with us. I'll try and crank him up for you.
Oh, boy. It doesn't really take much.
Wind him up and get him going. Well, the 7 o'clock hour probably wouldn't work for him. He's never been a morning guy.
Right.
So the question is, what's the temperature? It's balmy.
Yeah, that's right.
So he'll be in shorts, right?
I think so.
It's 30. Oh, criminy. He might be a tank top today.
And I'm wearing the shirt that he brought last time he was here.
It says, "Make Illinois Great Again."
That's right.
And he also says on the back, "Bring back the chief," which could have been the very start of the wokeism. Maybe the virus started in Champaign-Urbana.
I don't know if you have the camera on me or not. We are on Stevie Jay FM on X.
Yeah, there it is. She's displaying with the chief in the back. Chapin for chancellor. How about that? They are hiring, it's in the want ads.
Yep.
Looking for somebody to be chancellor. Although I don't think in education you would accept anything less than a PhD. So just because you're here doesn't mean you belong to the club.
Well, I think one of Chapin's things is the University of Illinois right here on the Urbana-Champaign campus. And even though there are outlets in, Springfield and Chicago,
yep,
the priority should be right here in Champaign County.
Well, I know the people in Chicago have been trying to rip away a lot of this for many, many, many years.
I know it.
So we want to make sure the center of everything is in Champaign-Urbana. Never lose grip on that.
With our number 18, Illinois, playing Nebraska on Thursday. We also have tickets that we're giving away to the Ohio State game, which is noon on Sunday. Always fun to ride the fan bus, too, from Pia's. and it leaves a half hour before tip-off. Appears to be a great way to start getting festive and ready for the game on Sunday against Ohio State.
Solgay says it's going to be 50 on Sunday.
know.
So that's like
But
wherever you park,
it's
you
up
walk
and down. Like it's near 40 on
to.
Saturday.
38 Saturday,
Right.
50 Sunday. So walking into the game at noon is going to feel good.
Man.
Walking into church Sunday is going to feel good.
I just talked about that on Ohio State game. Well, Ohio State beat Iowa 82-65 yesterday. Michigan over Penn State 76-72. UCLA over USC 82-76. The upset was Arizona over number 3 Iowa State 86-75. In that AP Top 25 poll, Auburn at number 1 with their 18-1 record. Duke, Iowa State, Alabama, and number 5 is Florida. So Michigan State 7. We have Marquette at number 9. Purdue 10. Wisconsin 17. Illinois 18. UConn bumped down to 25. Our Illinois women's basketball team beating Purdue 74-38 yesterday. A big Kendall Bostic show as she broke a rebound record held by Jenna Smith back in 2010 and her 13th double-double of the season, 47 overall. Go Kendall Bostic. Ephraim Winters passed away at the age of 61. So Illini, what was that, mid-80s that he was part of things?
Early.
Mm-hmm.
Early to middle. So I'm thinking 82, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Maybe 86. He was a terrific player. 6'9", is on all the lists. Rebounding, scoring. And again, you're 40 years old. You don't remember Ephraim Winters. You probably have to be 60 to remember Ephraim Winters.
Right.
But he was a wonderful player, and I worked at the scores table for many years, and I got to see his whole career. And he was a wonderful player. I didn't know him, but boy was he good. I think he wore number 24. That's how much I remember Ephraim Winters.
Okay.
I think 24 was his number, and he really kind of took us from, we're pretty good at basketball to kind of, we make a run. We could, that kind of thing. That whole 80s belonged to the Illini stuff.
Yes.
Ephraim Winters kind of got that high ball rolling with that team. So
120 games that he started from 83 through 86.
You may never see that again.
Right.
Because we're just not going to keep a kid 4 years.
I think it might have been broken in like 2002.
It's just these days, though, with the portal.
You're right.
Who's going to play 4 years? Probably nobody you want, because why isn't he going to the NBA?
Okay.
And then, I'm not playing enough. I'm going to transfer, right? I mean, nobody's going to stay 4 years at Eastern or ISU if they're good. And good is relative. If you play past grade 12 in any sport, you're great.
Mm-hmm.
But all those, what's ISU become? What's Eastern become? Western Illinois. They're kind of the league you go to before you go to the big, right?
That's right.
They aspire to go somewhere else and get paid because the smaller schools aren't going to have the budget.
Easy had texted in. Ephraim used to have a piece of chewing gum and his sock before every game.
I just don't remember
had
that.
Tucked it to the top part. Do you remember that, Stevie?
I don't remember that, but I remember he chewed gum.
And a lot of people do have their different things that they do the same way every time. And, kind of superstitious in a certain
it's called a routine.
Uh-huh.
You can call it superstitious.
Ritual, whatever.
They do their thing. Didn't Michael Jordan clap all the powder stuff before he went to the scores table, coughed, and LeBron James throws it in the air? It's everybody's got something going on.
Yeah.
It's called routine or superstition, whatever you want to do.
Bulls over the Nuggets, 129-121 yesterday. Milwaukee over Utah, 125-110. Vancouver took down the St. Louis Blues.
Okay, weather brought to you by Kurt Lenschow, State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, Kurt and State Farm are there, and you can save some money if you just call Watts Copy Systems. Get a free evaluation on your stuff. You might save on color copying. Watts Copy Systems, 217-352-0428. All right, here's our meteorologist ahead of Dr. Todd Likens, our veterinarian friend, coming up. Our weather now with Greg.
Well, again, everyone, let's check weather for Eastern Illinois. Champaign and vicinity. Delightful weather for late January, early February continues on from a temperature standpoint. Cooler weather is ahead for next week and a continuation of a pretty active storm track as well. Getting a little closer to that rain-snow line later next week as well. In the meantime, fine weather for the day today, but still wind blown. Mostly sunny up to 46. The west-southwest wind for the afternoon at 15 to 25 and gusty. Mostly clear, breezy tonight down to 32. Tomorrow, breezy, mild sunshine at 45. Into the 20s for tomorrow night, and some rain breaks out Thursday afternoon, increasing clouds, highs up to 48. A rainy Friday, the high about 47, but dropping in the afternoon. Last of the rain may have a little wet snow mixed in late in the day on Friday. No accumulation. 38, a partly cloudy and cooler Saturday, but back up to 50 on Sunday. Highs in the 30s Monday and Tuesday next week with a rain snow system mid to late next week as well. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
All right, always a pleasure to welcome Dr. Todd Likens, veterinarian, Madison Kirby, pet pro. How are you, bud?
Hey, we're enjoying the spring weather.
So little
dogs getting muddy and
yeah,
all
well, I
sorts
mean,
of stuff.
they can't come back in, or you just keep them in the kitchen. You don't have carpet in your life, though. That's nice.
No, I'm very tile, and we have a first floor bathroom. We can just parade them in and step in, shower, and dirt's in my system. It's out of here.
But they all don't like getting wet. So what's the deal? I mean, who cowers away? Who kind of gets in the corner?
Well, I don't know. They all seem to like mud. The dirt seems to make water much more appealing.
It's so funny. Okay, Dr. Todd, let's see. Little Lovey's got a little squinty right eye, and we had little chicks at our little baby shower. You know, Janet and I are grandparents now, Todd, so we're excited about that.
Yeah,
So
it's a happy time.
had little chickens in our house, and I'm wondering if little Lovey caught something from a chicken. I don't know, because she got awful close to him, so I don't know. Anyway, squinty, kind of squinty, kind of looks like that blasto thing I went through with Charlie. Ugh, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, first thing you want to do is just have some sort of rinse to rinse the eye out.
Yeah.
Eye wash can work, something like that. Because if there's some sort of particle in there, or even just some fine piece of dirt of some type, you can rinse some of these things out. And if it's a viral thing, it'll lower the virus count in the eye, too, by flushing the viruses out.
Yeah, she didn't seem to mind that. We did that for a little bit, and it looked a little bit better, so we probably need to keep it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we got a little spot on Mosey's tongue. A little spot on her tongue. Why would he have a spot on her tongue?
Well, they can get pigment deposits on their tongue. So that, if it's bleeding or enlarged or super red, then that's more of a concern.
But otherwise, just a spot's not a biggie?
Yeah, I would just watch.
But that speaks to good handling on your dogs with Lovey and Mosey, and it's important to do that from the puppy stage on so that they can go through this kind of eye treatment or trimming the nails or whatever it takes.
There's a picture of all of us on the bed, and I think Lovey said to Mosey, "We've really spoiled these people. Let them on our bed."
Yeah, really. No, it's good to just like you train them to sit and stay. It's good to teach them how, to let me handle your foot, let me open your mouth, let me do these things so they get used to it. And that's something I'll a lot of times show right in the exam room. Just do this real quick and get them used to it.
But you have to do that as a puppy. They don't allow that later. That's why you always say handle it.
Why are you looking at me and thinking about all
Well, I'm just saying. It's not very many dogs will let you play with their mouth, right? I mean,
some of the littler guys are harder to look in their mouths than the big guys because it's all teeth and fang and it's fast.
Right. That's right. Well, it's something. It's an amazing evolution back when you started as a veterinarian, Dr. Todd, to where we are now when the dogs used to be outside and called, they were kind of like a wolf that we kind of tended to. Now they're just, it's amazing.
Farm dog.
It's just unbelievable. Yeah. Now you see a dog outside chained up, you call somebody. Right?
Yeah. Well, and it's silly. Yeah, here we are. We got feral cats out here. I've been feeding them for 2 years. I still can't touch them. But what do? We buy them a heated water bowl, and they've got a heated little house they can go in. So, even the feral cats live well anymore.
That's right.
Well, it's just they've become such a companion.
Well, and speaking of that, I seem like I see a lot of like farmer's dog, the wet dog food that's delivered to your doorstep kind of thing. Let's talk about the wet food versus the dry food, Dr. Todd.
Well, I don't have a problem at all with some of these new foods, other than you still got to. It's hard to say the label gives you all the answers. Like there's one of these foods out there that's got incredibly high sodium in it, but that makes them eat it because they like the taste. But at the same time, it's not healthy to have that much sodium. So I wish we still had a better way to convey information about these foods. But there's you do your research, you can get into the food more. But yes, I think the wet food lead to the need for more dental care earlier. It seems like they build up tartar more frequently. The dry food is good because it kind of cleans the teeth.
Yeah.
And again, what goes in, what comes out. I mean, if they're not putting junk into the food's going to be bad.
Well, I mean, you can buy it was like a bag at Costco. It was like $25. It wasn't that big. And I'm going, I'm not going to do that because I don't know if they'll like it. So I just go buy a rotisserie chicken for $4.99. And they love rotisserie chicken, but not every day now. So we're past like dry food. They like the dry food, very premium dry food. Every pellet costs something. Anyway, so we tend to go, if you have to mix it up and you have warm rotisserie fresh chicken, they love that.
Wow.
But if it's a day old, I don't know. So we're past the.
Hey, I want to live at your house.
Yeah, no. You do, but they do enjoy steak, and all that's not bad at limits, right?
Right.
And everything in moderation is always good.
Yeah. Okay, how can people reach out and find Dr. Todd Likens?
Well, my main texter is on our way back from Brazil, so we'll be back to full staff soon. Give us a text still, though, at 217-355-5051.
You're hurting without her. You got to get her
I
back.
am hurting without her. I got to see it, but it's still hurting.
Hey, listen, always a pleasure.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you, Dr. Todd Likens, a pet pro, Madison, Kirby, and Champaign veterinarian.
His daughter, Taylor, man in the text line, but coming back from vacation.
Yeah.
Speaking of vacation, I was supposed to be going down to Memphis today, but here I am. Just bumped the trip a little later for my travel companion. To
hang out at Graceland and all that stuff.
Absolutely. That's
really
tomorrow at 10 a.m.
We're going to You got to get an appointment, huh?
Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay. Sterling was selling his first home, was pretty nervous about it. He reached out to the Nate Evans Group for help, and he said that the team at the Nate Evans Group made the entire experience as painless as possible.
I'm telling you, you can sell your home quickly without the hassles of a traditional listing. Their agents are so easy to work with and have so much experience. Nate Evans at the Nate Evans Group with eXp Realty can get you that immediate cash offer on your home. There's flexible fees. You can sell your home for the most money possible. In fact, when you go to Nate Evans Group, you can click on that Get Home Value and get the process started. So a friend you can trust, call the only agent I would call if I needed to sell my home. Nate Evans, 217-239-7113. Google Nate Evans Group and start packing.
Sell your home with Nate. Pick the price, pick the day. Go to theNateEvansGroup.com.
Is the plumbing in your home driving you crazy? From leaks to drips or remodels, Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing has you covered. Voted CU's #1 plumbing company, and there's a reason. Treating all customers like friends. Backed up sewers, clogged drains. Call today. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, 217-841-4728, or visit dogtownheatingandair.com. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend.
Crime is happening right now in our neighborhoods and across our communities, but you can help stop it with a donation to Champaign County Crime Stoppers. Your tax-deductible donation is an investment in a safer community for your family, your business, and the future we all deserve. Crime Stoppers has been fighting crime and assisting local law enforcement for nearly 4 decades, and we are funded through the generous support of those willing to stand up against crime. Join our ranks by visiting ChampaignCountyCrimeStoppers.org and donating today.
We would like to invite you to the St. Joseph Ogden FFA auction February 1st at the St. Joseph Ogden High School. Dinner and silent auction begins at 5, followed by a live auction at 6. There are no tickets needed to attend, and anyone is welcome.
Items to be auctioned off include fire pits, solo stove, various Milwaukee tools, store lock welding table, various silent auction baskets, and gift certificates from local businesses.
You can learn more about our auction at our Facebook page, St. Joseph Ogden FFA.
Tim, talk to me about Gale Forex Trucking. Any news?
A couple of new drivers on board that joined the team, and I think I may have one open spot left, maybe two. And we can always buy more trucks if they're good drivers. But it's been a challenge, but everybody has stayed safe, and I appreciate that. We've got a great group of guys that know that they have to safely service the customers, and they're doing that.
Describe the kind of driver you would love to hire.
Somebody that wants to work, knows the importance of being on time and servicing the customer, but also enjoys their quality home time with their family. It's difficult for truck drivers that are stuck out on the road for weeks at a time, so we just don't do that to them. We want them to have that quality time, rest their brain, rest their body, be with their family. That's real important to us.
How can people reach Tim Onstad?
They can get me at TIMO@GFTLOG.com.
This is WSJK Tuscola Champaign-Urbana.
She calls him a dirtbag. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. New Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted video on X of an illegal immigrant who faces kidnapping and assault charges, rounded up in a New York City immigration raid as federal agents go after immigrants considered criminal and safety threats nationwide. Nearly 1,200 arrests just yesterday.
We've had many targets here that have really kind of egregious convictions for sexual assault, for murder, for aggravated battery, drug possession. We've arrested gang members so far.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement Field Office Director Sam Olson in Chicago, where Democrats keep vowing to resist the Trump mass deportation operation, prompting this.
As part of the Republican-led House Oversight Committee's immigration investigation, Committee Chair James Comer wants the Democratic mayors of New York City, Boston, Chicago, and Denver to testify. All four of those so-called sanctuary cities have ordinances, codes, or laws on the books that protect people who live in those cities from deportation.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. President Trump, the commander-in-chief, wants changes in the military with 3 executive orders. Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House details them.
Develops an American Iron Dome missile defense system like what they have in Israel. Formulate a new policy on transgender troops. That is up to Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, to figure out how that's going to work. And then ban DEI initiatives in the military.
Another order will restore the rank of thousands of military service members kicked out for refusing to get a COVID vaccine, and it gives them full back pay and benefits. Here's something else new that'll take effect later today.
A memo sent by the Office of Management and Budget Monday night is ordering executive departments to pause federal grants and loans until those programs are reviewed by the administration. A copy of the memo was reviewed by the Wall Street Journal, but it's causing confusion as to how broad that order goes.
As Fox's Jared Halpern, we do know that this order does not affect Medicare and Social Security benefits. America's listening to Fox News.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
As federal immigration agents carry out raids, they insist they're not going into schools and churches targeting migrants here illegally. But a religious group is suing the Trump administration.
The Quaker federal lawsuit claims the crackdown on immigrants interferes with their ability to hear and receive messages from God. So, a coalition of Quaker groups is suing to block immigration raids on houses of worship. The suit argues the raids violate the Quakers' First Amendment rights and explains that for them, a diversity of worshipers is an essential component of the Quaker value of experiencing God in a broader, more encompassing way. This appears to be the first such lawsuit filed by a religious group. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
Why is a big question in Elkhart, Indiana, the morning after a gunman went inside a Martin's supermarket, then shot and killed 2 people and injured 2 responding police officers who ended up killing that gunman outside the grocery store. It is back to school this week for kids traumatized last week by a deadly shooting in Nashville, Tennessee.
Students and staff at Antioch High School return with a priority this week: emotional well-being, mental health support, and community building activities amid heightened security after a student opened fire last week, killing a classmate, then himself.
I was just in lunch and approximately 4 gunshots just went off.
maybe 4 gunshots at that school.
That from just released 911 calls. Investigators say the gunman was a known threat and suspended from school months before the shooting for threatening to harm another student with a box cutter. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are up for the NASDAQ the day after that massive tech sell-off that led to a 3% NASDAQ plunge on AI concerns. The Dow was not dragged down by that. It actually surged up, but Dow futures are now down modestly. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. Illinois' unemployment rate slightly down. The Illinois Department of Employment Security says the state's jobless rate fell 0.1% to 5.2% last month. Non-farm payroll jobs increased by 8,800 in December. Illinois Attorney General warning the public about scams related to California wildfire relief efforts. He says if you're planning to make a donation, make sure the charity is providing direct aid or raising money for other groups. Donors may want to avoid the middlemen and give directly to charities that have a presence in the region. He advises donors to ask questions to determine the donation's ultimate recipients. Ginger Ale in Savoy is closing permanently. The business announced on Sunday. Ginger Ale's opened a location in Savoy of summer of 2023. They serve food from a limited menu, including pretzels, sandwiches, and nachos, but we're known for their specialty sodas. And that's a check of what's happening. You're up to date from the Stevie J Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
They just opened.
I know.
What was the? I'd never gone. Sorry.
It was like a bright green.
I've driven by it.
Right on your way to the Savoy.
But
Walmart.
I don't drink soda.
Right, and it's more than that.
Well, I mean,
and
again,
slushies and coffee drinks and.
It's really hard to have a small business, and it's really hard when you have to somehow communicate to people what you sell.
Mm-hmm.
It's just difficult. But I'm always saddened to hear something closes because that's somebody's nest egg, and
especially
they spend a
when
lot
they're
of time.
just getting underway.
No, they just opened
just
that.
getting their
like a
footing
year
inside the last year.
I'm so sorry. It's
I know, and
all
great
right.
family too. The Ruggieris. Anyway, Liz was the one
But
that I knew.
You drive
closely.
through and get about anything you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all kinds of flavors and things like that.
I don't know, man. It just you look at the numbers.
I used to get a vanilla protein shake, and I brought one to Janet. She loved it.
Okay. Well, see, I didn't know they had protein. It's hard to tell everybody what you do.
Right.
And then you got the building you got to pay for. You got the nut. You got workers that don't come. Not easy.
That's right.
So Solier could start a weather shop and franchise that.
Yeah.
And
No. You know, actually, the weather service that Finkel started, and it's been passed down and merged with another one in the northern suburbs of Chicago. They don't have a brick and mortar anymore. That's just the way.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I know.
That's just the way that, from a business end, one thing to keep. No brick and mortar, no bills to pay, heating, electrical.
Well,
everybody works remote.
What if you had $100 million Chicago downtown business office and COVID comes, and then after that they figure out, I don't think I need your office anymore. Yeesh. I mean, there was.
If you have property, you have great leverage in working your square footage up and your rent.
No question. And I think there was Fort Worth, Texas, the oldest building in Fort Worth, wasn't it 120 million, and somebody bought it for 20? I mean, it's just the value. I think it had some work it needed done, but I mean, I don't know. I just know that normally office buildings in big cities were gold, but not so much anymore. Yeah.
I think there's going to be just a bigger glut of commercial real estate that's, okay, what do you do with it now?
No, I don't know. We've evolved to that. But then again, Donald Trump bringing everybody back to work in Washington, D.C. 5 days a week. And the businesses, by the way, the 95% Democrat in that town. But the businesses are obviously thrilled. The mayor's been trying to get in and come back to work because nobody's going to their shops.
Right.
Nobody's eating lunch. Nobody's doing all that.
Yeah.
But some of the workers are freaking out that they have to get dressed. And then what are they going? They have to drive, and we have to park. They're freaking out on
daycare. I mean, it's
sometimes
that too. In the end.
Well,
it's
listen, guys,
traffic jams, man.
I mean, I understand, but if you're the daycare and you're working, are you working? Right? I understand how that works. You get distracted.
I know. And
you love being with your kids, and I do too. But work is like what we've done for a while, and you got to go in. I don't.
I know.
I understand. I'm just saying that for the government to essentially do this because they want you to quit, they are hoping 20 out of 100 quit. because they could cut the budget easier that way. And
for a reduction of the federal workforce?
Yeah, trying to bring the number down. And honestly, how many of us think it'd make a difference if you lost 20% of the federal government workforce? I think not. I think there's a lot of slow going on. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of slow down. You're making me look bad thing, and we're going to get that project done by a week from this next October.
Right,
man.
But good on you if you got.
You got the gig, but you know what? There's a lot of people that don't like the gig because the culture's too slow. It's just what it is, but it's a good gig, and I don't begrudge anybody that's got one. I couldn't run at that pace. No. I got to go faster.
Yeah,
I'm a let's go today, get it done thing. I can't wait. Yeah. Anyway, it's we'll see what happens, but I wouldn't want to own office buildings. Thank you. Greg Sawyer, our meteorologist, who's got a look at the weather, and we're keeping a wary eye of maybe late next week for stuff.
It's a nice day today. Melting going on.
No,
that's right. Can hear the drip off the gutter line, as we say in the ag business, and kind of watch your step under hoof kindly with softening grounds, melting snow cover, snowpack, what's left of it in patchy fashion around here. And that opens up kind of a can of worms because there's probably going to be more first stream and river related issues with increasing high water because of melting and ice jamming and all that. So we'll keep an eye on that in the coming next couple of 2 or 3 weeks with a plethora of weather systems driving along the periphery of building Arctic air next week over the northern and western reaches of the country. Early spring warmth over the southeastern part of the country. So you know the drill when that range of temperature ratings gets going. It tends to be pretty much active and moisture laden in our general neck of the woods. So enjoy this stuff while you may. At 27 at Wilderness Savoy, same at Rantoul. Later on today, anything but a late January feel will top out this afternoon. Up and around about 46 to be exact about it. Southwest wind will be gusty as the day wears on, 15 to 25, gust to 30 to 35 as the afternoon wears on. Clear tonight, breezy 32, sunshine mild again for the day tomorrow, more of a northwest wind and high about 45. We got some rainy weather moving in Thursday afternoon, continues into Friday. A little wet snow on the back side of this weather system. Friday evening, no accumulation. Temperatures still in the upper 40s on Thursday, turning cooler Friday afternoon. Quiet weather for the weekend. Not bad. Pretty good range of temperatures. Up close to 40 on Saturday, 50 on Sunday. Then we start that cooling process early next week. Clouds and high temperatures in the 30s next Monday and Tuesday. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Soldier.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. It is 8:12. We're going to be graced by Chapin Rose here in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
So here's what Barack Obama said about illegal immigration.
Oh, wow.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported.
Okay.
If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
So what happened?
Right.
So why did you guys go whack out on me?
What year was that?
Probably 2008 or 9.
Okay.
10, 12, whatever it was. So what happened? Hillary Clinton said the same exact thing. Hillary Clinton said the same thing about people that come across and are illegal. And then I had I forgot to transfer this. I'm going to play it right now. State Senator Chapin Rose, we predicted.
Welcome.
You got to go back to Springfield. You got pants on. Okay, and he's got pants.
Kind of angry about it.
I'm going to say.
Kind of angry about it.
Listen, I'm kind of a John Fetterman fan. So you can get a hoodie now from me.
I know.
I wasn't all in on the Nike shorts, but I like him.
Yeah, if you got to be for a Democrat, he's the one.
No, he's one that makes the most sense right now, isn't he? All right, so here's what I recorded off Shock, MSNBC yesterday. You got to hear this. Now, this is a reporter who accidentally called them illegal immigrants.
Oh, yeah.
Corrected by her.
Can't do that.
Her anchor. See if it comes up.
Okay.
Oh, I remember in the middle of the night I had something going on. I had to turn the volume down because it was really loud.
Turning the volume up.
I got to turn it. Okay, hold on. All right, now I got it going on. Here we go. All right, this is a reporter, MSNBC.
Out of the Rocky Mountain Division in Colorado, there you can see a raid that was conducted this morning. They say that they were targeting a Venezuelan gang, and they were able to seize cash, weapons, and actually made an arrest of, quote, 50 illegal aliens right there. Alex? Yep, we call them undocumented immigrants. Put that again.
We call them undocumented interested.
Never mind. They got a bunch of Venezuelan, gangs with guns, guns and cash, but they're worried about what we call them.
Okay, State Senator Chapin Rose,
I call them criminals.
State of Illinois So what's up? I mean, explain Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker being against what 85% of Americans want, and that is to pick up criminal, illegal immigrants and arresting them. Why? How can you be against that?
It is not my job to defend Governor Pritzker
Well,
or Mayor Johnson.
well, is there any sense? I mean,
No,
but
there's
wait a
no
minute.
sense
But
to it.
he's a guy that moves back and forth with the wind. 85% of the people want that. Why would you be against? Now you could say,
Well, Mayor Johnson's a true believer.
well, he is a leftist.
Yeah, I mean, he's
far
a true
left.
believer.
He's not going to win again. I don't think. I would think they're going to.
How did he win the first time? But anyway,
I know.
Neither here nor there. But look, Governor Pritzker's right now trying to have it both ways. He said at a press conference earlier this week, he's like, well, we're not, we don't want to get in the way of arresting, criminals.
That's what he said.
But he's doing exactly that. Yeah. At the same time, he sent out Department of Corrections sent out an entire memo that they can't cooperate with ICE. Okay, so listen to this, people. When you leave the Illinois Department of Corrections, and if you were convicted in the state of Illinois as an illegal alien, went to the Illinois Department of Corrections, when you leave, whenever your out date is, okay, your sentence is up, the Illinois Department of Corrections is not allowed to call ICE and have them come meet you at the door. That's crazy.
They'd rather go in the neighborhood, risk their lives
Right.
with guns, and when they had them held. Why in the world are we helping each other?
Stevie, that's exactly the point. Because when they do leave the Department of Corrections custody or your local county jail, they go right back into your community, our community, somewhere in the state of Illinois community, right? They're not just sticking around. They're out of there. They're going to go back to where they came from. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. But the point is, you're not deporting them. And you've got them in county jails. Whether it's Champaign County or Cook County, all right? Governor Pritzker, and actually Champaign County sent this out, we will not cooperate. Well, why the heck not? If you've got somebody in custody, why wouldn't you pick up ICE and just call them and say, hey, we've got this person here. Come pick them up. Their out date is Tuesday. Have them meet them at the door. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, too, as a former prosecutor in this county, Champaign County, the ICE detainer was sometimes the most efficient way to handle a case. Okay, maybe it's some guy that stole a candy bar. Okay, not a rapist or a murderer, but had an ICE detainer. It's a lot easier for the property taxpayers, a lot more efficient for the property taxpayers, for me to have picked up the phone and called ICE and said, hey, we got this guy in a detainer. Can you come pick him up? Rather than have him sit in our county jail on the taxpayers' dime for the next 30, 60 days, right?
No question about it. There's some common sense involved, and I just obviously I don't think Illinois as a political body has had common sense for a very long time, in my opinion, because of the leadership and the stuff we're doing. But
and there's a listener that texted in at 359-2255 comparing the Rauner days and the Rauner's administration. What's your reaction to that?
was Rauner a Republican? Was he a Republican in name only, or was he real? Or was he a real Republican?
Before all your listeners think I'm just some pro-Republican guy out here bashing Democrats, let's not forget it was Bruce Rauner who signed this idiotic trust act into law. Okay. It is J.B. Pritzker who continues to defend it.
The Trust Act is what?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that question. The Trust Act is the Illinois law that handcuffs our police and says you cannot inquire about status, and if you end up making an arrest and they are ICE detained, you cannot let ICE know you have them.
I can't even believe
it. It's a state law that says non-cooperation. And yes, so before people think I'm just some partisan hack here, let's be clear. Governor Rauner was the one who signed that into law 6-7 years ago, but J.B. Pritzker is the one who, for the last 6 years, has continued to defend it, continues to defend it this week, saying he will not allow our people to even cooperate in the most remote way with ICE when it comes to this. And by the way, let's talk safety. Would you think it is safer for ICE to raid a house and pull somebody out of it, or pick them up at the jail where they're not armed? Where do you think the safest place to make that arrest is at? Is it in a home with the SWAT team and guns drawn?
Unbelievable.
Or is it when you've already got them in custody in handcuffs? It's insane.
It is insane.
I have filed bill after bill to repeal the Trust Act, and this is the point. I mean, I was very bipartisan, what I just said a minute ago, throwing Governor Rauner into that. But here's where the part where I'm not going to be bipartisan. For 6 years now, Governor Pritzker has been our governor, over 6 years now. And I've filed bill after bill to repeal the Trust Act, and the Governor Pritzker and his Democrats won't even allow a vote on it in Springfield. Crazy.
More with Chapin Rose here coming up. We're going to take the Fox Business Minute and then be right back. We're going to spend the rest of the hour with Chapin Rose, and I want to ask him about this horrible crash near Carl and why we can't clearly identify if this was an illegal alien here. Unbelievable. We'll be back with that next. ESPN 92.5.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Durable goods orders declined 2.2% in December, a sign that demand for expensive manufactured things has softened. Durable goods includes everything from refrigerators to airplanes. NVIDIA shares are up 3% after yesterday's sell-off. Boeing was expected to report a disappointing quarter. It did, and it lost money in the period. Boeing shares are narrowly lower. Lockheed Martin shares down 3.5%. Its earnings for the recent quarter were upbeat, but it's cautious about this year. General Motors quarter top forecast on strong business in North America, though the stock is lower. It lost money in the period because of its decision to exit the robo-taxi business, and it had expenses for restructuring in China. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
I'm Emily Campagno, host of the Fox True Crime Podcast. In March of 1953, retired vaudeville star Mabel Monahan was found brutally murdered. The case became a media sensation, and one woman was painted to be a cold-blooded murderess, Barbara Graham. This week, former prosecutor and author Marcia Clark reveals a different side of the story, detailing an unjust justice system in her latest book, Trial by Ambush. Available now on foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Are you tired of shivering in the winter? Look no further than your local heroes at ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. Hi, this is Gina inviting you to give us a call at 217-352-5400 to book your appointment to make sure your furnace is run safely and efficiently this winter. We've been proudly locally owned and operated and have been serving our community for over 50 years. ABC, always be comfortable. Call me 217-352-5400 to book your appointment today or go to abcheatingandac.com.
Now at Jets, order any 3-topping pizza and get $5 off. Just use promo code 3TOP when ordering. That's the number 3, T-O-P. Want to impress family and friends and spend less? Get creative and build your own 3-topping pizza with their favorites for your holiday gatherings. Available in deep dish, thin crust, New York style, or hand-toss round. Any 3-topping Jets pizza for $5 off with promo code 3TOP. It's a deal. Jets, better because it has to be.
You've changed thousands of diapers, played hours of peekaboo and duck duck goose because you do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow in Champaign-Urbana today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Drive in, drive out. Recycling's what Max is all about. You can make some cash and do your share. We make it really simple because we care. It doesn't matter large or small. Our friendly staff will handle it all. Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
We're talking to Nate Evans of the Nate Evans Group.
Yeah, I mean, we hire full-time agents. That's a non-negotiable for us. We're really picky about who we hire. We interviewed over 30 agents last year. I took 2. That's a lot different than a lot of the people that we compete against. Nothing against them, but sometimes they're collecting bodies and trying to train and educate them, bring them up to something. We only hire experience. Everybody on my team has been a part of over 100 transactions before you're even eligible to be on my team. And then we can work from there and go from some things. But they're showing up to the office every day. We have conversations about market conditions, and we're able to be a little more aware of what we're experiencing, and then use all that information amongst each other to kind of help each other through these times and help our clients in return.
So call the only agent I would call if I needed to sell my home. It's Nate Evans with eXp Realty, 217-239-7113, or do an online search to Nate Evans Group to start packing.
Sell your home with Nate. Pick the price, pick the day. Go to theNateEvansGroup.com.
Chapin Rose is here. He's state senator. I never know the districts. 52nd, 50, what is it?
51.
51.
Okay.
That's Dick Butkus's pro number. 50 was his number at Illinois, just FYI. Chapin Rose here, state senator. Always good to have him.
That's pretty awesome, actually. I didn't realize that, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
51.
And we are taking calls and texts,
Hold on.
359-2255.
Before we get to that, I was railing that I could not find in the media that this man who crashed into this Civic and killed 2 young ladies, beautiful people, that he was an illegal alien. And I thought our media was tentative in saying, hey, man, first of all, if he was deported, that would signify he was illegal and he's back in. So anyway, I guess now that's been at least articulated that this was an illegal, which is just makes it worse because of policy allowing him here.
Yeah, no, he is absolutely was illegal. He was deported at least once before. He was operating under an alias, and they thought he was a guy from Mexico. It turns out he's actually from
Guatemala or something like that.
So how did he get to Dallas? How did he get to deep Texas and almost out of the country? And who helped him? And can we arrest them?
Yeah. Well, that is a great question, and yes, theoretically you could. Anybody who is aiding and abetting becomes essentially an accomplice, right? And so any theory of complicity, they would also be subject to prosecution under federal law. I was never a federal prosecutor; I was a state prosecutor. The other thing that I would tell you is that it sounded like he was like on a Greyhound or something, though, at that last leg of some kind of commercial charter.
So it might have just jumped the bus.
But I mean, certainly, the question is, well, where was he living, prior to this?
Why was he here?
Exactly. Where was he living? Where was he working? I mean, all those questions, right? So, if you wanted to, and by the way, I'm going to send you guys this, Stevie and Diane, Tom Homan, the new immigration czar, has chimed in on this nationally from his own Twitter account and or Instagram or whatever.
And he talked about Urbana?
Yeah, he actually called out Urbana police because they had previously, and by the way, I think Urbana police were told to do this. I don't think they had a choice from their civil administration, but they had sent out this, get prepared checklist. So what to do if ICE comes knocking at your door. Totally. Again, this is all this nonsense world stuff that progressive liberals are living in, as if it doesn't, as if crime doesn't happen in their communities. Well, look what just happened in Urbana, and it's horrific and it's an absolute tragedy.
2 20-year-olds dead after a 1:20 a.m. crash. The Mitsubishi SUV rammed a Civic, and 2 20-year-old visitors of our died. It's just horrific. And again, you say, well, you always want answers. This again, the policy allowed this man to be in our country, and that's wrong, and we got to fix it.
The policy didn't allow it. Joe Biden didn't enforce the policy, right? Nobody enforced the policy.
Their de facto policy was to let everybody in.
Right, that's the problem.
Larry Boone, we had on. He's the new chief of police. I liked him. He's a very good man, but Tom Homan says he's got some explaining to do. Is what this thing's.
Well, again, I suspect that the Urbana. Look, there's a lot of great men and women that work in the Urbana Police Department.
No question.
We appreciate them every day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What I think happened here is I'm sure that the civil team at the Urbana, administration, the city council, and all those folks told the Urbana police they had to send this out. I don't think that was Larry Boone's call.
No.
So
you have people that are your boss.
At least I hope it wasn't Larry Boone's call. But.
Well, it just the bottom.
Well, when we invited Chief Boone on, they
said no.
The handler said we're expressing our sentiments.
But I will
through a press release.
But look, this is the part we have to sort of gut check ourselves, because you have 2 young ladies that had everything ahead of them, had their whole lives ahead of them that are gone now. And, you got to kind of take a step back and just look at the horrific tragedy it is. And then at the same time, you have to somehow call out call it out. This guy should have never been here. There was another accident a couple of years ago, you remember, where that person ended up in the hospital. State police, and by the way, there's another issue that needs to be talked about, is the fact that there's very few people on duty at the Illinois State Police bestowed them on any given time of day or night. But they got called to another incident, and they had to leave him at the hospital. He got discharged at the hospital, walked out the door, and
How could the
he's been
hospital
gone now.
discharge without approval from the police if he was involved?
Well, it's two different things. I mean, hospital is just discharging your health.
Okay.
There's nothing. They're not going to hold the whole hospital.
But there's
can't
no
hold you.
police officer that was available, apparently.
Yeah, guy left, and he's gone. He's gone. He is south of the border. He's not coming back. That guy. But look, at the end of the day, again, this is when you have things like the Trust Act, right, which needs to be repealed in Illinois. When you're telling your sheriffs and your law, I mean, think about Champaign County, 74, 72, 57, 49, 130, 47, all these major routes, right? Throughways. I probably forgot a couple. 130, I said 130.
136?
Anyway. Yeah, 136.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You've got all these throughways, and you pull somebody over, and you've told your law enforcement you can't ask about their civil immigration status. Well, you can't check the ICE detainer list.
When did we start
What happened if they had an ICE detainer?
Well, I'm just saying, what happened to picking and choosing the laws we follow? You can't do that. I mean, you ought to be able to ask those questions.
Correct. And more importantly, when you let's just take it. I mean, by the way, this Trust Act applies statewide. So let's say Douglas County pulls over somebody on 57. All right, and they would have been on the ICE, or they are on the ICE detainer list. Douglas County doesn't know that because they're not allowed to ask or inquire. So they put them back on the highway with a speeding ticket. That person ends up in Champaign County working. That's how this stuff happens. That's how these people get here, okay? And at the end of the day, when you've handcuffed law enforcement, and again, Pritzker does not get a pass. He doesn't get to say on both hands he wants to get rid of the criminals, but then he will still order everyone to enforce the Trust Act, like the memo that he sent out to his Department of Corrections, in the last 2 months saying, hey guys, you're not allowed to call ICE and tell them when they leave the prison. That's crazy. That is crazy. They're already in our custody. Why would you let them back in our communities? Whether it's our community, Chicago, or Cairo, why would you let a criminal back in our communities, Governor Pritzker?
What is the answer to that?
Well, they don't have one right now. I mean, they are him-hawing all around, right? I mean, you've heard him at these press conferences. First of all, if you remember Courage of His Convictions, Pritzker, when he comes out right after the election, he says, we're gonna do everything we can to protect our people. Remember that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna protect my people.
Yeah.
Now it's, well, we won't interfere.
Yeah.
We won't help, but we won't get in the way. So he doesn't know, right? I mean, he's like you said, 85% of the country is in one position, and J.B. Pritzker and the progressive left Democratic Party is on the other 15%.
I guarantee you the brothers and sisters on the front line that serve every single day to protect us, they want to help.
Heck yes.
They want to help because they don't want these guys on the street going in houses with SWAT teams. It's way more dangerous. Somebody could die.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just hand them over in handcuffs. What are we doing?
It creates such an unsafe situation. And look, these men and women in blue, they're going to do that. They're going to do it. That's a job they sign up for.
Yeah.
And they are doing it right now.
Some texters are saying, what about sanctuary cities and things like that? I mean,
let me get to the news. We'll come right back and go to the text. If you've got something for Chapin Rose, 217-359-2255.
News. I'm Chris Foster. All government grants and loans are ordered to be put on hold until they're reviewed to make sure they align with President Trump's priorities. Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer says the payments are not optional and warns there will be chaos. President Trump signs executive orders for the military.
What they do is reinstate troops who refused the COVID vaccine, about 8,000 people, develops an American Iron Dome missile defense system like what they have in Israel, formulate a new policy on transgender troops, that is up to Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, to figure out, and then ban DEI initiatives in the military.
Fox's Peter Ducey. A pardoned Capitol rioters dead in Indiana.
Matthew Huddle was shot after a traffic stop in Jasper County. Huddle is accused of resisting arrest and struggling with the deputy who was attempting to arrest him.
Your show, Ed May with Fox 59 Indianapolis. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, this is Troy Lands from Lands Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. With colder temperatures here, let's make sure your heating system is operating at its best. At Lands, you can join our comfort family and get exclusive savings and support to keep your heating system in tip-top shape this winter and all year round. Our plans offer tune-ups, discounts on repair, and even lifetime system enhancements. Plus, we back up our equipment with labor warranty when we install it. Find out more about our Comfort Family maintenance plans at landsinc.com. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
Here's a look at local news. Illinois Attorney General warning the public about scams related to California wildfire relief efforts. He says if you're planning to make a donation, make sure the charity is providing direct aid or raising money for other groups. Donors may want to avoid the middlemen and give directly to charities that have a presence in the region. He advises donors to ask questions to determine the donation's ultimate recipients. Ginger Ale in Savoy is closing permanently. The business announced on Sunday. Ginger Ale's opened a location in Savoy of summer of 2023. They serve food from a limited menu, including pretzels, sandwiches, and nachos, but were known for their specialty sodas. Illinois' unemployment rate slightly down. The Illinois Department of Employment Security says the state's jobless rate fell 0.1% to 5.2% last month. Non-farm payroll jobs increased by 8,800 in December. And that's a check at what's happening. You're up to date from the Stevie J Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
Get the roof your home deserves by Roof Doctors, your residential roofing specialist that has always offered the best warranties in the industry, like our non-prorated 50-year warranty. Our customers love that we are family-owned and locally operated. We make our customer needs our top priority. With over 30 years experience and the best customer service, give Roof Doctors a call today for your free estimate at 328-7529. In your community and for your community, Roof Doctors.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois. Champaign and Van Avis. Saturday, still a series of fast-moving weather systems riding up to the north. Wet weather breaking out down south. The two will get together with a rain system to in later on this week and a change back to colder weather ahead for next week. But in the meantime, these mild days of late January continue on. Windy, milder this afternoon. Mostly sunny up to 46 at a west-southwesterly wind, 15 to 25 miles per hour and gusty. Mostly clear, breezy tonight down to 32. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, mild again, up to 45 at a northwest wind. We'll settle back into the 20s tomorrow night, increasing cloudiness for the day on Thursday. Some rain breaks out for the afternoon, the high about 48, and a rainy Friday, the high around 47 and dropping. Last of that rain may have a little snow in it late in the day on Friday. Then Saturday, partly cloudy, 38, back up to a wind-blown high of 50 on Sunday. Highs in the 30s Monday and Tuesday of next week with a rain-snow system due in mid-next week as well. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
Chapin Rose is in our studio, downtown Philo, the center of the universe. Nice to have you here.
Center of the universe.
That's center, right there on the water tower. Has to be true. Good to have you here. Okay, 217-359-2255. That's called our Fisher National Bank text line. Diane?
Well, there's been some chatter about sanctuary cities, and if Urbana was a sanctuary city and this terrible situation happened, I mean, what's your reaction to that? Is there...
Yeah, well, I mean, look, pretty simple. I've been against this sanctuary status since the beginning. I mean, it's sort of insane because if you look at the predicate on it, the original just ignore the law was the sanctuary state, right? They just said we're not going to force any immigration. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to help the federal government. So whether it's the state of Illinois as a sanctuary state or the cities of Champaign-Urbana as sanctuary cities, they were the original groups that just said, we're not going to help, all right? And now look at where we are. And I will also point out, it's not just about waving a flag and saying, hey, we're a sanctuary state. Under Governor Pritzker's put out a homing beacon, okay? Think about all this you get if you get here as an illegal alien. Free health care, cash assistance, driver's licenses, legal services, housing services, child care assistance, mental health services, food assistance.
I would bring Chapin. I bring my family here.
Yeah. It's a homing beacon.
Why wouldn't
it's a homing?
Why wouldn't
right.
you?
Why
are we doing that though? If we have $1.1 billion we spent on illegal last year, why and how we pay for that?
Right. If you walk into Texas and they say your choice is to stay in Texas or go to free everything, wouldn't you go to free everything?
Yeah.
Of course they go to free. So it's not just. I mean, the sanctuary status is bad enough, but it's all this other stuff, and that is all J.B. Pritzker, okay? I mean, I was very clear earlier that the Trust Act started under Rauner, but the free health, think about free health care. How many people listening right now pay premiums and copays? Wouldn't you like free? But you were dumb enough to be born here and work here and pay taxes here.
No, it's beyond explanation. It really is. And if you had J.B. Pritzker in here, I'd say, Governor, what is this? What is the common sense What are we doing? I mean, I'm talking about criminal people now. I'm not talking about kids in school that have been here 7 years, whatever. They're still illegal. You have to deal with that at the end of the day. We had Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton both say 10 years ago, you got to pay a fine. You got to learn English. I mean, they were all on the page. Now the leftists came in, the progressive, and completely took over the Democratic Party.
Well, and again, what you've seen in the last week are real criminals. I mean, just like that story you started with when I first came in, you were talking about gangs, guns, cash, and that's what you're deporting. And people in the left still can't say you can't get rid of gangs, guns. I mean, are you serious right now?
No sense.
So yeah, I mean, they've lost their minds.
What happens? What happens with this? I mean, there's been 500 people that came across the border this last week, so it's pretty much shut. I mean, everybody got the word that you can't come into America. Donald Trump's not allowing you to do it anymore. But how do we possibly catch up with all the felons that are out there? They're arresting like 1,000 yesterday, but there's a lot more to find.
Well, look, Rome wasn't built in a day, certainly, but you got to start somewhere, and President Trump has started, and that's the most important thing. And look, Tom Homan, I think Tom Homan calling out Urbana and their sanctuary state status, that's great. I mean, that is absolutely what needs to happen. And to be really honest with you, several times now I've introduced bills, or well, not as a group, our caucus introduced bills, others that I work with in Springfield introduced bills to get rid of the Trust Act, repeal it.
Yeah.
And these guys, oh no, he has human rights, blah blah blah, all the things. Like okay, let's just start with the criminals. Oh, can't do that, right?
Why?
And exactly.
Why?
Exactly.
All right, so the Democrats have been split. I don't know how much of Champaign-Urbana is leftist, is progressive. 10%?
I think it's getting less by the day, by the way.
Okay. All right, so here's Newt Gingrich talking about how the Democrats going to figure this out.
No, look, I first of all, as you know, at the America's New Majority Project, we've been tracking public opinion since 2018, and there are issues that are just overwhelming. 83% of the American people, for example, want to see that if somebody's picked up, they're held if they're an illegal immigrant until the federal government can come and get them. Now, 83%. Yet some Democrats voted against it. On the Lake and Riley bill, which would do just that, there were only 46 Democrats voted yes, over 150 voted no. On the issue of whether men should be in women's sports, the country is 79, according to the New York Times, the country is 79% against men in women's sports, and yet only 2 Democrats voted for the bill that would block men from women's sports. All the rest voted with the left. And what's going to happen? Simple. They're going to go home, the public's going to speak out, and you have a survivalist wing and a hardline wing. And they're going to fight each other. The hardline wing is going to say, how dare you vote for these ideas? And the survivalist wing is going to say, I'd like to actually survive. I'd like to actually vote the way the people back home feel. And remember, on almost all these cultural issues, there's like a 15 to 20% minority, and then there's the rest of us. Well, the 15 to 20% is so bitter that they're going to be prepared to fight a civil war in primaries.
Might not be able to get out of a primary if you're a Democrat, and you have John Fetterman kind of common sense ideas. How's that going to resolve itself?
Yeah, Newt's exactly right about this, and actually, I'm seeing it in Springfield. I mean, the Democratic caucuses are just these marathon arguments between members of the caucus. You even saw it last summer with Newt calls it the survivalist wing, but I would say the more common sense folks that are actually listening to their constituents, basically being beat to shreds by the left wing inside the state Senate Democratic caucus. So he's exactly right about this. I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. I think it's going to carry through the next primary season for the Democrats. The only thing I would say for around here, I mean, when it comes to what was his term, survivalists, and what was the true believers, or
the survivalists and the whatever he said. I can't remember.
Some true believers.
Right, true believers.
The Urbana Democrat is the true believer, right? So around here,
no matter what November 5th said, they're staying on the page. That's what they believe.
Right,
that's what they believe.
But as Newt pointed out, they're bitter. I mean, they're angry about it now, right? Because they've realized they've been boxed in a corner by 85% of the American public. And they just can't believe it. They can't. It was like Steve Beckett. I heard it on a radio show, and he was just couldn't understand what had happened, and he had no idea what had happened because he'd been in his little progressive liberal ecosphere, and I respect Steve a lot. But everybody he talked to hated Trump, and
who you run with,
how did it happen?
And what you watch and listen to will reinforce.
Right.
And if you watch MSNBC and CNN, you'd be shocked how this could have happened because they're criminals, and he's the convicted felon and everything.
It is.
Yeah. So if they stay on that page, and I would encourage them to do that,
because it wasn't just the Trump one. It was the Republican majorities that came with it.
Yeah, right. No,
it was the holy cow.
Yep.
People who put their foot down.
I would tell the progressives, Stevie J would recommend that you stay on the page, stay with your principles, and get Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to be your party next time to run in 28. That would be perfect. Because that's not going to win. That's not going to win.
With that.
Yeah. But you think that if they got let's just say, I like Harold Ford Jr., I like Joe Manchin. I think those guys make some common sense. You go that direction, you're going to pull some of the 10-20% on the Republican side under this big tent now the Republicans have, because I just don't know if they can do it with the left in a primary. They won't win.
See, but here's the problem. I think this is bigger than a single election. Okay, I think that the Democratic Party has now positioned itself. Its core base is such a small minority of the country that whoever runs as a Democrat, if they don't kowtow to that group, and it's magnified within their party, that small percent of the country becomes the whole party, right? In a primary. So if they don't kowtow to that group and go, look, it's just exactly what Biden tried to do his entire 4 years. He kept trying to go to the left rather than go to the middle. And look where it left him. He had to drop out. He had to drop out.
Right. Well, I think that there was a Chapin Rose that was a Democrat.
And Steve Fetterman.
John Fetterman.
John Fetterman. John Fetterman.
But I think if there was a Democrat, Chapin Rose, that didn't care what you thought and going to come out and say, this is common sense, we're not going to win again until we do this, you might have some real magnet appeal there where a lot of people say, I like that guy.
I'm not sure that guy can get through the Democratic primary.
Probably not.
I'm saying.
Probably
and that's what
not.
Newt's saying. It's because remember, primaries are, 15% of the American public is going to have an outsized influence inside of a Democratic primary. Because if only, 35% of the country votes in a Democratic primary, right, that 15% suddenly becomes everything.
Yep.
So, you got to win that primary. And
carry on then. Carry on, Democrats. Just let the tail wag the dog if you want, because you're not going to win with the woke thing anymore. And I'm wondering, anecdotally, do you think the chief was kind of the beginning of the virus where we had 11 people complain about Chief Illini and it just fell apart?
And you gave in, you had the entire will of all of Illini Nation, and you gave in because of a couple nuts.
Well, back in the day, Governor Edgar had said, it's not that we don't want to talk about the decision. We just don't want to talk about it anymore. It was just bigger than the sky. Everything was the chief. You're racist. You're bigoted. We're going to show you. It's a teaching moment, the NCAA said. Yet the Seminole rides in on a bareback horse, and the Kansas City Chiefs goes, all day long. What are you talking about?
Well, while you've given me this opportunity, let me just suggest one little thing. If the U of I was sincere about diversity, they would engage with the tribes.
Look
what's
at
happening?
Stevie's got the shirt on too.
I'm just robing for the first time.
Steve didn't know what was happening for a minute. Make Illinois great again.
That's it, man. I got Chapin's T-shirt on, and Diane and I match.
Yes.
Yep. Make Illinois great again.
Baby.
Bring back the chief. Bring back the chief.
I got his shirt on now.
Well, but honestly, in a sincere manner, if Florida State can have a dialogue and have an honest process with the Seminole tribe, why does the University of Illinois administration keep putting the kibosh on having an actual discussion? I mean, if you're for diversity, why won't you actually allow the discussion to occur? I mean, what's wrong with this
Because you're a
discussion?
racist and a bigot.
For having a conversation?
Yeah, because you are.
Because I actually want to talk to Native Americans?
You're just bigoted and you're
because you actually want to talk to Native Americans and hear what they say.
NCAA,
oh, wait a minute.
NCAA penalizes your baseball team and your golf team for hosting anything
But the NCAA doesn't exist anymore.
Well, the
NCAA is nothing at this point. Let's just be clear about that.
True.
But But look, here's my point. What is racist? Is it ignoring the Native American Guardians Association who came here and said, hey, we want to do a culturally authentic presentation at the U of I, and just completely refusing to talk to them when they're actually, is that racist? Because that's what the U of I just did. And I would suggest having a conversation with those folks might have been the appropriate course of action.
Well, again, I'm all about consistency and not hypocrites.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Seminoles being what they are, and we accept the Atlanta Braves and the Kansas City Chiefs, and yet I'm bad?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Well, keep in mind, too, that when you poll Native Americans, they're absolutely okay with Native imagery. like it's like another 85%er. I mean, it's off the charts. It's these it's like the Stephen Kaufman, right?
Yeah.
It's like the white progressive guy from the professor that hates it. When you actually talk to real Native Americans, you poll them, which ESPN did. It's actually off the charts in support.
What would the student? If you
conversation?
had the students vote on chief or no chief, what would the vote be?
I think the students would still be pro-chief.
I think it'd be heavily pro-chief.
I think
wouldn't
it'd look, this idiotic whatever that little bird thing is that they try to they're trying to bring us. I mean, that's just a joke. And I think if you actually had an honest poll of students, they'd say bring the chief back because they're all up there wearing chief memorabilia anyway.
I think the youth they totally went Trump. 36-point win for Trump on the youth. Maybe because of TikTok. I don't know. Last word with Chapin Rose. Senator Chapin Rose next. When you're looking for your next vehicle, be sure to stop at Sarah Champagne and listen to Merez.
Hi, I'm Merez Johnson Jr., power forward for the University of Illinois basketball team. The only place you should shop for your next vehicle is Sarah Champagne, home of Honda, BMW, Buick GMC, and Subaru. Why? Because they treat you like family every time. Take it from me, Merez Johnson Jr. Sarah Champagne will be the last dealership you will ever work with.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com. That's SERRA champagne.com.
At Pards in Urbana, the boots just keep on coming. They're known for their huge collection of men's cowboy boots, women's cowgirl boots, kids' boots, and even shoes. If you're searching for top footwear brands, look no further than Pards. They carry a wide variety, including Ariat, Dan Post, Smoky Mountain, Roper, Double H, and more. And if socks or accessories are what you need, they've got all your high-quality essentials. Since 1968, Pards has been serving their customers with high-quality merchandise. And if you haven't been to Pards in a while, a lot has changed. Go check them out just off University Avenue in Urbana.
Our friendly sales team help you to find just the right appliance, just the right price.
I'm Paul Reekin, and you know my dad, Dennis, for the famous
Wow.
Yeah, that's the one. That
Wow
is a Central Illinois tradition, decades in the making. It's our award-winning staff that puts the
Wow
in Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We have in-house service, in-house appliance installation, a knowledgeable sales staff that will make sure you get the guaranteed best deal on your next appliance purchase. Oh, and let's not forget, a jingle that's been around for decades. Just like the quality service we provide, I'll make sure it's here for decades to come. We're the store that makes you say,
Wow.
We stand behind what we sell, we offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Ever wonder why you pay your bank to have a checking account? Fisher National Bank does too. You see, they offer free rewards cashback checking that gives you cash back on debit purchases, no service fees or balance requirements. Simply make 12 debit card purchases, receive electronic statements, and have one direct deposit in a monthly cycle. It's so simple. Reward yourself today with rewards cashback checking. Learn more at any branch or FisherNational.com. Fisher National Bank. Exceptional communities, exceptional people. Member FDIC.
Honest, professional, and affordable. That's what you get from Classic Plumbing and Air. Done right, guaranteed.
I'm Ty Rogers. I'm a basketball player from the University of Illinois. Juke out the competition and cross over to Classic Plumbing and Air. Take a shot and call Classic Plumbing and Air. At Classic Plumbing and Air, it's done right, guaranteed. We care about your air.
So if you need help with your heating, air conditioning, or plumbing, connect with Classic Plumbing and Air at classicplum.com. Tim Culver, owner and president of Classic Plumbing and Air.
A plumber is a person that is well-rounded. They have education, they have experience, and they are versed in more than only one phase of plumbing. A plumber is someone that has experience in all three phases, and they understand how all three of these plumbing aspects work together as well.
Was in the heating and air conditioning business for approximately 30 years and then retired in 2021. So I came out of retirement because I'm very big on taking care of our local community. The most satisfying part of my job is when I know that I've done the right thing for the customer, taking care of the customer's happy, and when I walk out the door that I'm not afraid to put a sign out in front of their house that says, "This job was done by Chuck Thompson, Classic Plumbing and Air."
Visit them at classicplum.com.
Chapin Rose, been a pleasure having him here. A few more minutes here. So Governor J.B. Pritzker, I think, wants to be president. What's he do in 2 years when he's up for re-election?
Yeah, that's the big question right now, Stevie. Is he going to run or not? And the conventional wisdom is he should. They would say you have to be the sitting governor to run for president. I kind of disagree. I think if you're a multi-billionaire like he is, it doesn't matter if he's sitting or not. And I bet he drops out. But he knows. But I'll tell you what, your listeners, if you're upset about this sanctuary status stuff, if you're upset about what's happened in Urbana, last week, if you're upset, call J.B. Pritzker's office and tell him where you feel. Tell him where you feel. This guy, he refuses to move on the Trust Act. Tell him you want to repeal the Trust Act. Let our law enforcement, let our men and women in blue do their job.
Asking if they're illegal, you can't ask it with the Trust Act. You can't even ask.
In the jail, can't even tell them they're being held in the jail. I mean, it's crazy.
Crazy. Okay, so we do that, but will Governor Pritzker tack toward the middle if it means a nomination for president on the Democratic side?
Pritzker is a guy that comes with no principles, right? I mean, he's a guy that just wants desperately to be loved. So that means he'll say or do whatever it takes to be loved.
Well, what does he believe?
That's what I mean. He's got.
Do you know what he believes?
No,
he's not. Is he a progressive?
He claims to be a progressive, and he probably is to more than not. But at the end of the day, he's a guy that will do whatever it takes to win, and he will say whatever it takes to win.
So he's your atypical politician.
Yeah. He's got $1 billion. He's going to hire somebody to tell him what to say to become president.
Okay.
And that's what he's going to say. And after November, that isn't progressive left anymore. So I think it's going to be real nice to watch his budget address this year. He's got a $3 billion budget deficit that he's created that he has to solve. He can't solve it without making somebody mad. And it's going to be real interesting. And by the way, at least a third of that is all this free spend on illegals. I mean, free health care, free food,
That's only
free
growing,
housing.
right?
It's only growing. Well, with Trump,
right,
it might start going down again because there isn't anybody to make a claim.
But it's still going to be $100 million here or there to $1 billion.
It's up over $1 billion last year. Yeah, state tax dollars.
Yeah. Well, Chapin, it's always a pleasure. Nice of you to come to Philo, Illinois. Now, so you're going to Springfield. How many allies do you have in that town? Do they like you? Do they like you in Springfield?
Well, it depends on who you talk to, I guess. But yeah, we do okay over there.
Well, I mean, but you get your minutes, you get your time to
I think
express.
most people know that I'm fair and I'm honest, and they know that I'm going to tell them what I think, whether they like it or not.
Would you run for governor? Is that too far fetched? I mean, there have been people calling for that.
No, I always appreciate you saying that, but
you need